Where's Jono?
Haven't you heard? He got a one-match ban for sucker punching you last week.
Really?
Yeah.
Evening, gents.
What are you doing here?
Oh, didn't you hear? I got off. I don't play for Cardiff.
Welcome to Cats Whiskers TV.
On this week's show, we'll be looking back at a fabulous Scottish weekend for the Panthers and also the game against Edinburgh on Tuesday night. We'll be discussing the shenanigans in Cardiff on Sunday and looking ahead to the game against Braehead on Friday and the game against Sheffield on Sunday. But first, as always, it's Paul Baum with the news.
I'm Paul Baum and this is the news. There was increased security at Big Blue Tent. Braehead's pink shirt caused fight amongst teammates. EIHO released footage of Didier Mete versus Olsen fight. And that was the news.
15 goals, only 4 conceded. Not a bad weekend, was it?
No, it wasn't. And what a difference a week makes.
Certainly does, especially after all your doom and gloom last week.
I'm just glad the players were listening to me. That's all I'm saying.
So, Braehead first on Friday night. I think that was probably the most surprising result of the weekend. 5-1 was a great result there.
It was. I mean, you looked at the fixtures and you were always going to lose points there or at Fife, I thought. But to go into to Braehead and to control the game the way we did was excellent.
Of course, we spoke to a couple of fans after the game to get their thoughts. I'm with the boys from Panthers Hockey Live. They were at the game in Braehead on Friday night. Ian, good game?
Yeah, brilliant. Really good. Really enjoyed it. Start to finish. Out of the blocks really quick. Great. Loads of crowd interaction. Great support from the fans. Brilliant night.
Couple of tilts there, and I think Miller against Lapine was probably the pick of them.
It was a bit more even. When you see someone like Sam Zajac jump someone like Lapine, you expect one outcome, and it was the outcome that we expected. But I can't complain about the performance at all. We played really, really well. Unfortunately, Braehead seemed to have an off night.
I think of all the games of the weekend, and especially after the last couple of results, we was probably not expecting to get much out of Braehead. So to come out of there with a 5-1 win is very pleasing.
Yeah, I think it'd be because of the lack of scoring we've had of late. I think a lot of people were a bit tentative towards the start. But to be honest, the moment the guys hit the ice, the moment the puck dropped, the attitude was there. It was just a buzz about it, and you just knew it just wasn't going to go the Clan's way. The Panthers just dominated from the start to the finish. Zemlak let some soft goals in, but he played well in the third period, and it could have been even more. Good games from everybody. Josh Ward could have scored right at the end with a tip in. Tuma was a train. He was a train last night. He was awesome. Didn't take a penalty. Great stuff. Stewart, strong as you like. It was a really, really good performance. Best performance this season for me.
So looking forward to the rest of the weekend. What do you reckon?
I think tomorrow's going to be very, very tricky.
Yeah.
I was always worried about tomorrow coming up anyway. Tonight, I think I expected more coming up, but looking what we put in last night, I'm now worried about tonight because, Edinburgh haven't played last night. They're not a bad team. They're a very, very good team compared to previous seasons. They've got a very, very good netminder. We need to hit a rebound. I say it every time we play all these teams. We get shots in, blah blah blah, but we don't follow up with the rebounds. We need to do that tonight. Fingers crossed.
Well, thanks for your time, guys, as always.
No problem. Cheers.
So next night we was in Edinburgh, and I managed to make that one. A very, very professional performance by the Panthers. Not the greatest game you'll ever see, if I'm honest, but going up there and winning 5-0.
Yeah, I mean, you just got to do what you do. Get to use another of my cliches. You can only play what's in front of you, and I guess we'll be using that one again later. But win's a win, which is another cliche.
Although a bit of bad news to come out of that game is David Clark sustained an injury. We don't know how bad it is. It seems a leg or knee, but he will be missed.
He will. I mean, he's not hit his usual scoring form just yet, but he's another weapon in your arsenal, isn't he?
Well, of course, after the game, I caught up with a few fans to get their thoughts. Good result.
Very good, yes. After yesterday, I was just a bit worried they might be a bit tired, but good result. And with players going off and coming back on and going off and coming back on, must have been a bit disruptive, but controlled the game.
Professional performance.
Yes, I mean, they did what they had to do. I mean, I thought Edinburgh tried really hard, didn't give up, kept coming at us, but very controlled by us, very controlled.
Enjoy that?
Yes, good game. Nice to see another shout-out for K-Ball.
I think pretty professional performance by the Panthers.
Again, yeah, same as last night. But again, the Capitals put out a perfectly good performance as well. You can't knock the hockey they're playing. It's just a shame they can't get more support behind the team.
Very pleasing defence as well, so that's just one goal conceded in 2 games. So I don't think anybody expected that before we came up here.
Yeah, the D this year seems to be doing a whole lot better. I'm more than happy with what I'm seeing on the ice at the moment. If we can get another win tomorrow night, perfect weekend.
I'm with Rob, who is probably the coldest Panther in Edinburgh tonight, if you look down there. So, anything on under there?
Yeah. I think if there was, it'd be inverted.
So what do you think of the performance?
Yeah, great team game. Graham looked good, obviously scratching him. Booked his ideas up, he's come out flying. Tuma looks good, all the boys look good. A little bit concerned that Clarkey went off in the second period and didn't come back. But other than that, we're looking really fluid.
So are you going for a warm now?
Yes, hot bath and a cup of tea.
I'll let you get on with it. Cheers, mate. He must have been cold.
Yeah, but it's a bit of a letdown. He'd got something on underneath it. Not that I wanted to see or anything, you understand, but I thought, you're not supposed to wear anything under. No, I did not. You're not supposed to wear anything underneath it. This is going on far too long for my liking. Just change the subject.
Well, I will then. We spoke to the guys from Caps TV Live, who did their first webcast of the season, which turned out to be a record. Here's what they had to say after the game. And with the guys from Caps TV Live, popular webcast tonight.
It certainly was, yeah. I think from what we've been hearing, we've broken a few records tonight in terms of viewers, and it's always great to get everyone watching the games. Nottingham's always been a great success for the webcast between yourselves and Cardiff. It's our bigger viewers, and we always love to hear from the fans as well.
How easy is it to put together from a technical point of view?
It's different every time we do it. It's supposed to be easy, but if it all works, it's not too bad. It's not too bad, but there's always an external source uploading to the internet, and some of the viewers have quite outdated PCs and computers, and that can give problems. But it's not too bad around.
Guys, I just want to ask about the Caps and the Gardner Conference. Do you feel that there has been closer games this season?
I think there has been, definitely. We've gone close against Fife and Dundee. Played very well. It was a scrappy game against Coventry, but we were in it right till the end. I've been surprised by the results between the two conferences. I thought the Erhard Conference might have been way in front of the Gardner Conference, but it doesn't seem to be like that. I think the new conference system's working, and it's been successful, and the Caps have been going close in a few games. We could do with secondary scoring, but it's been a good setup.
And one final question to the cameraman. I've got to ask you this. How easy is it to follow the puck?
It's not. It really is not that easy to follow the puck. But when it's fast play, you're moving that camera around a lot and you're missing bits and pieces here and then, but you just got to keep trying.
Okay. Well, thanks for your time, guys, and thanks for the coverage. Appreciate it. So the final game of the weekend was in Fife. Now, me and you have been to Fife before, but we've never seen a game, have we?
We haven't, no. We've only been in the ring. I mean, looking at the place, you can feel the atmosphere. So what it must be like on a game night, I don't know.
Oh, I can tell you, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. The atmosphere is incredible in there. I mean, basically, there was just 2 full sides, a few people at the end, people standing at the back. It obviously helped that we had 300, 400 fans there, but they turned up in numbers as well, and it just created a fabulous atmosphere, and we got a fantastic game of hockey as well.
Yeah, well, the game of hockey, quality, that always helps. But I think sort of places like Fife, places like Cardiff, and Coventry, although they're a lot newer, you're going to get that atmosphere because the people who are in there want to be there.
Yeah.
You know, you look at somewhere like Nottingham, lovely comfy seats, leg room, unlike Sheffield. And, you know, you get people, it's a night out. You know, they can go and sit there and relax. Where you go to Fife, it's like in the old days of going places like Durham, Whitley, where it was uncomfortable, it was cold and damp. You got into the game because you had to want to be there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, of course, Fife have had a pretty decent start to the season, especially when you compare it with last season. And we spoke to a couple of their fans and one of their younger ones to find out what they thought. I'm with Fife fans Kirk and Laura. Laura, you're pretty well known in the Twitterverse because you update a lot of Flyers games, don't you?
Yeah, I've just started doing it over this last sort of season and a bit. A lot of the times when we were going down to England, I was getting updates from fans down there, so it was good that when they came up here, they were going to get updates from the game as well. So the guys started to appreciate it, so I just started carrying on what I was doing.
And Kirk, you're one of the young drummers.
Yeah.
So how do you create an atmosphere?
Well, I do one of my tunes, but the crowd are so easy to get like pumping. Because it's such a small rink, like the crowd go buzzing, and like the whole rink is so noisy, and it's something really cool to watch.
Great, thank you, Kirk. Laura, can I just ask you, how do you feel? How close do you think it is this season so far? Because obviously there's been the change to the conference. You're getting a lot of your Scottish rivals coming here. Is that helping with the atmosphere and the crowd?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you get guys like Braehead bringing through a couple of hundred fans with you, you get the likes of Dundee and Edinburgh coming in with their groups. You know, they're a loud bunch of fans, they're passionate, and Scotland, between these teams, have got such a rivalry that it goes back so many years that it makes the old barn, you know, makes it really good, really loud, and it gets right on the players' backs. You know, they're really close to the ice. So when you're making plenty of noise, they can hear you, and it shows in their performances. Sometimes you are that extra man.
And also, you've had a really, really good start to the season. You've obviously beaten Sheffield, which is always good. We like it when you beat Sheffield. But you've also, you seem to be doing a lot better than last season. Why do you think this is?
I think this year, you know, with the team, the guys that came in, they seem to be working well together. You know, they're playing as a team. There's not any individuals. You know, they want to cover each other's back. They're playing for the shirt. They're not bothered about the name on the back. They know that the one in the front's a lot more important than the one in the back. And it seems to be showing that, you know, they're willing to stick up for each other. Whereas last year, they didn't seem to all gel so well, and there was a few problems on the off the ice, and that showed in their performances.
And Kirk, what do you think?
Well, I think the Flyers have played exceptionally well. They've like teams like Nottingham have got a really big, massive budget for players, and we don't have that big a budget. But the players we're bringing in right now is exceptionally well, and I think we're doing great, especially when we beat Sheffield. That was really good.
Well, like I said, we always like it when you beat Sheffield. Thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, as I said, a great game in Fife on Sunday, and it is particularly worth watching for the 5th goal by Matt Francis. Goal of the season for me so far. Remember to vote for that in the awards next week. So 3 wins out of 3, that finished it off. But it was always going to be a difficult game, I thought, because fatigue was kicking in by this point. But they still came up with the goods.
They did, and you're right. You know, 3 games in 3 days. It's going to pay, but that's what Coach Nielsen wanted, isn't it? The idea of having, you know, these 2-3 game away trips was his. So he must have known that he'd be able to get the team into some sort of fitness to be able to play it.
I think some big performances from a few players this week. Pat Gallivan being one.
It's about time.
But also,
like I said before, I'm glad to see he's listening to me.
Yeah, well, they're all obviously listening to you.
I'm not complaining if we can go out there, win as a team, do well as a team, I'm happy.
I think a word for Martin Tuma, who must be the unluckiest man in ice hockey. He's now 2 months in, and he's had 3 different injuries.
Yeah, I mean, Andy had to do the commentary on the DVD with Owen Bradley last night, so it's only getting worse for him, isn't it?
I wonder if he wore a nice jumper.
Which to be hope not.
But in all seriousness, he went down in front of a puck. Just basically commitment, stopping the puck going towards the net. It hit him flush on the kneecap. The rumours at the rink early on was that he'd actually broken his kneecap, but it turns out it was deep bruising. He might even be back for Friday, so a bit of a warrior, that lad.
He is. I mean, the stuff he went through just to get here, and the problems he's had since. I mean, I'm still not entirely sure I've seen him play a full game yet, but, you know, obviously he's putting his body down for the cause. That's what you want. I mean, look at what people said about Jordan Fox, the playoffs. I see him playing, you know, was it with a slip disc? That's right. So, yeah, I mean, if he's going to put his body on the line, and you know, that's good for me.
Well, of course, back at the hotel on Sunday night after the weekend, we spoke to another couple of fans to get their reflections. Back at the hotel after a quite fabulous game of hockey tonight between Panthers and Fife. Steve, I'll come to you first. Enjoy that.
Yeah, I thought it was the best game of the 3 by a long way. I certainly think that Fife looked the strongest of the Scottish teams that I've seen this weekend.
And Russ, what do you think of the atmosphere in the rink tonight?
Absolutely fantastic. It's probably had the best atmosphere that we've been to all weekend. Fife did well, turned out in great numbers. Panthers fans, as always, turned up in great numbers and great voice. Entertaining battle between the 2 fans.
So to look over the weekend as a whole, 15 goals, only 4 conceded, 6 points in the league. You know, we couldn't really have asked for any more, could we?
Not really. No, it's just a superb performance. Although, you know, you're not talking the stronger teams. I'd like to see what we could do playing the way we have this week against teams from our conference.
Looking ahead, Russ, we've got Edinburgh on Tuesday and then Braehead again next Friday before playing Sheffield in the Cup on next Sunday. Do you think this has given us a bit of momentum? Because we've had a couple of defeats and things haven't been the greatest. There's been a lot of, I would say, misery within the fan base, but, you know, this is going to give everyone a lift.
Yeah, I think it's now, you know, now we look to have turned the corner. I mean, you know, we can't get carried away. Each game's going to be tough. You know, Edinburgh are going to come back and want to have something to prove. Braehead are obviously going to want to come down to Nottingham and beat us for the way we beat them in their barn. But we take it a game at a time, and hopefully, you know, wins carry on building. And we carry on being where we are at the minute.
Sorry if these are the only sort of, not really negatives, but the unfortunate things to take out of the weekend. Obviously, there's an injury to David Clark with his knee. Don't know how serious it is. And of course, Martin Tuma took an injury tonight, a puck on the knee. Thought it might be a broken kneecap. He's obviously, it's not. It's been confirmed as deep bruising, but he might be out for a while.
Well, it's a hazard of the sport, you know, injuries, and it's a case of really, as far as I can say, you've got to look at how, as a team, you perform without these injured players. It's not so much losing the players; it's, you know, the rest of the guys sort of teaming up to keep the momentum going.
I think one final point, and I'll come to you, Russ, is Matt Francis. What a weekend he's had. I think 10 points he's got over 3 games. That's phenomenal.
Absolutely fantastic. Words can't describe how good he's been. He is a real leader within that team, and I think we're seeing it now. And hopefully Franny can carry on building from that, and hopefully he'll feel confidence through the rest of the team.
One final thing, if you could mark the weekend out of 10, what would you give it?
A minimum of 9.
9. Russ?
10 and 6 points.
Right, back to the studio.
Had we actually won that game?
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't know. Looking at them two, it looked miserable as sin.
We've been drinking.
That figures.
Anyway, moving on swiftly. Of course, the only really other event in the league to talk about this week is what happened in Cardiff on Sunday night in the game between Cardiff and Coventry. Kicked off a little bit, didn't it?
I believe the term is old-time hockey, isn't it? Eddie Shaw. But, yeah, I've not seen events like that after a game in many a years. Not since Shannon Hope did it to Chris Kelland. Yeah, well, those years ago, yeah. We are going back a long, long way there, yeah.
I think we need to break this down into 2. So first we'll look at when a fan broke into a secure area and confronted Ben Olsen, which probably wasn't the brightest thing to do.
It's not, and I think Cardiff have got to take the blame there. Fans should not be able to get into areas like that. I mean, look at when we were in, ironically enough, Coventry the other week, talking to the steward there, and he was saying, we had to be, when we were sort of kept back behind a railing when the team went on and off. And that's, unfortunately, it shouldn't have to happen, but obviously events like Sunday nights show that it does need to.
I mean, obviously there was a bit of a precedent set in football recently when a Leeds fan jumped on the pitch at Hillsborough and slapped Chris Kirkland, the Sheffield Wednesday goalkeeper. He gets 4 months inside. This guy's just got a ban for the rest of the season. I honestly think he's got off very, very lightly.
I think he has, but that's the difference. I think the difference is that the police got involved with the Chris Kirkland incident, whereas the incident on Sunday has been dealt with by the club. The police looked at it and there was no further. They didn't want to take any further action themselves.
Okay, so let's look at what else went on. Obviously, the bans have now been announced. Bit one-sided.
Yeah, if you looked at the bans alone, you'd think that the Cardiff players had just jumped the Coventry players in the tunnel, and none of the Coventry players reacted. It seems very, very strange to me.
But of course, I think it's fair to say, though, that the Coventry players did get game penalties. They were given penalties at the time. I think the Cardiff players, you've obviously got their bench coach who's fighting from the bench and got 5 match ban, I believe. Max Beerbreyer gets a 5-game ban for cross-checking to the head, which I think is fair enough. I think he deserves that. And then he gets another 3 for rejoining the altercation after he come out of the dressing room. So I think that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
That is, but I think what you've got to remember, the Beerbreyer thing is fair enough. They were always going to throw the book at him. It's his second checking to the head offence, and he came back out the dressing room. Although I did once see, if we're talking about old times tonight, I did once see Mark Pallister come out the dressing room after he'd been thrown out in Billingham and get the Man of the Match award. But and people talk about this league being a joke. But we talk about Neil Francis, getting 5 match for fighting. He wasn't shadow boxing. He was fighting somebody else, fighting Egner. I'm not saying Egner should have get 5 games, but to get nothing but a game penalty strikes me as a little one-sided.
Yeah, I think also our friend Didier Mete, he got a 3-match ban. However, he was obviously fighting. He was fighting Olsen, and Olsen's not got anything. So I personally think that the bans to the Cardiff players have been fair enough, but I think they should have been not as severe, but I think there should have been some extra punishment for Coventry.
Yeah, Didier Mete got his for having been taken off the ice, going back to join in. But I think what also should be taken is this happened after the game in the handshakes. How many times do you see that? No. Like we were saying, it's all the way back to Shannon Hope. And, I think, yes, it's fun. The players loved it. The fans loved it. But they ended up on the front page of the local newspaper with headlines like Day of Shame, which is a bit over the top. But when was the last time we made the front page of the Post?
Oh, was it about 10, 11 years ago?
No, it's when we won the playoffs.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Oh, I remember that. Anyway, just on the reactions that have come out, there does seem to be people who seem to be professionally offended by this sort of thing. Why are they watching hockey in the first place if they don't like this sort of thing? Surely that's why most people go and watch.
Well, they're probably saying the same watching this. Why are they talking about that? It's nothing to do with them. But yeah, it's bandwagon jumping. It's we can jump on. They can't blame Brad Voth anymore, so they've got to have somebody to blame. So it's see where we can go with that. But just let it wash over them. It'll be tomorrow's chip paper.
So I'm sure it will rumble on for the rest of the season. But anyway, something else that's more than likely to cause a ruckus is the students' quickfire questions.
Hold on to your hats. It's time for the students' quickfire questions. That's if he can get out of bed, of course. Let's find out about this week's contestants.
Tonight's contestant is Paul Barr. He's an IT manager from Nottingham and is quite tall.
Paul, you're facing the students' quickfire questions this week. We have 30 seconds on the clock, please. Time starts now. Belfast, cack or crack?
Crack.
Dave Sims, godlike or gobshy?
Gobshy.
Is pepper on chips strange?
Yes.
Wrong. Best player ever seen?
Paul Adey.
Maury Hansen, missed or no great loss?
Missed.
Yes or no, Hull is the most versatile arena?
Yes.
Brador or Wah?
Wah.
Correct. Stand up or butterfly goalie?
Butterfly.
Just can't get enough or just about had enough?
Just about had enough.
Thank you for facing the students' questions this week, Paul.
Join us next time for more student quickfire questions. You know you want to.
He doesn't half look like you, that lad.
You're not the first person to say that.
I'm sure I'm not. Anyway, Edinburgh, Tuesday night, 10-0. You weren't there again, were you?
No. I don't sound like I missed much though, really, does it?
It was a bit one-sided, to say the least. Yeah, we even had 3 netminders. That's how one-sided it was.
Don't get the Sheffield fans inflamed again, John. You know how they don't like people who cheat the way to wins.
They don't, do they? No. Anyway, 10-0, another good performance. All said and done, another shutout. And some players coming into form. We've previously mentioned Mr. Gallivan.
Yes.
Bruce Graham seems to be sticking a few away, but I think someone who has been heavily criticised, not by us, I hasten to add, is Anthony Stewart. But I thought the weekend and I thought last night, he's been absolutely sensational.
Well, you don't get in the NHL if you're no good, do you?
And I think people are expecting him to score a ton of points. And that's not his game. He's not going to do that. But I don't think I've seen him go into the corner yet and not come out with the puck. His stick work and his strength is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, and that's his game, isn't it? He's not the goal scorer. I think a lot of people expect him. Oh, he's an LHLer, so he can just walk straight in and take over the league. That doesn't work like that. But I think, going back to people like Graham, who's upped his games, and Pat Gallivan again. Sorry, Pat, because we know he does watch, obviously. Now we found out today that Corey Nielsen is fit again, but he doesn't want to disrupt the team. But we are playing with extra imports, so people are going to miss games. So that competition is there for those places, and if the players react to that, that's good.
I mean, I know we mentioned it last week with Chris about Corey Nielsen staying behind the bench, but I noticed in Fife how whenever a line was coming off, he was talking to his players as they came off, giving them advice, and that's what you want to see from a coach.
That's a coach's job. I mean, different coaches coach in different ways. Some will just stand there and others don't. So, but he knows his role. He's been doing it 3-4 years now. So if it's working, so I say keep doing it, Corey.
Absolutely. So looking ahead to this weekend, game on Friday, game on Sunday. Friday obviously is the league, and it's against Braehead, and they will want revenge.
They will indeed, and I'm going for once.
Whee!
Yay! But well, probably. Yeah, they've. We embarrassed them, I think, to an extent. Although it was a big night for them with what they were doing for the breast cancer charity. Big crowd, and we went into their barn, took the 2 points, and we made fools of them at times.
Obviously, Jordan Kristanovic should be back for this game. You've got the likes of Galbraith as well, and of course they've got their own NHLer in Drew Miller. So I'm expecting a tough game.
You can't write them off. You can't look at that one game we had against them on Friday and just take it on that. We've got to watch a lot of players on that team. We've come up against Zemlak before. I'm not a huge fan of his style, but you know, he's performed well against us before. Didn't on Friday night, I don't think, but he'll want to change that. So should be a good game. But we've said that before.
Sunday, of course, is Challenge Cup. We've already qualified.
It's not difficult, really. Is it?
Well, no, but you know, it's a game against Sheffield, so it's always a big game against Sheffield. But does it? I don't want to really say this, but does it matter?
Yeah. Do you want to elaborate? I mean, I thought that was it. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yes, because it's Sheffield, it'll matter to them whether we've qualified or not, and you know, we've got a certain amount of momentum going at the moment. We want to keep that going. You don't want to, we can't be bothered with this game, lose that momentum, because what if you don't then get it back? You know, things go wrong when you think like that. So yeah, yes, it does matter, and it should matter to the team, and they should be playing it like it's a league game or anything else.
All right, well, I shall see you at the game on Friday, no doubt. And that's all for this week. Next week, we'll, of course, have the monthly awards once again. We'll be looking back on this week's games, and we'll also have a quick look ahead to Great Britain's Olympic qualifiers in Japan. So until next week, good night. I see Sheffield fans that think we should get our points forfeited for having 3 netminders the other night.
Who cares what they think?